The planet Dravar 7 was not a safe place. It was dirty, hot, full of traitors, smugglers, and criminals. But Ryan Cross didn't care. He wasn't here to make friends. He was here to get paid. He parked his old rusted cargo hauler outside a black market station made of scrap metal and bones. His boots crunched on red dust as he walked to the deal post. His eyes were cold. His hand stayed close to his weapon. Inside the metal tent, 3 aliens waited. Tall, yellow-skinned, sharp teeth. One of them grinned when he saw Ryan. "Ah, human. You came back." Ryan didn't smile. "You owe me. 3 crates of fuel converters." "Delivered early. I want my credits." The alien chuckled. "About that." He stepped aside. Behind him, in a corner of the tent, a girl sat on the floor, her wrists bound, her ankles chained. She was alien, but not like them. She was smaller, slender. Silver hair hung over her eyes. Her skin was pale blue, glowing faintly. Her face was bruised. But her eyes, they burned with fire. The alien leaned in. "We don't have credits. Market's bad. But we offer her instead. Good payment, yes?" Ryan frowned. "What is she?" The alien shrugged. "Property. Bought from the backlines. Some kind of engineer or technician, but she bites. Rebellious." He laughed and held up a hand. 2 fingers were missing. "See? She bit me. Dangerous pet. But beautiful. You take her. Debt clean." Ryan looked at her. She looked back. No fear. No begging. Just cold, angry eyes. Ryan sighed. "This is not what I wanted." "Take her or leave with nothing," the alien growled. He walked forward, kneeled down in front of her. "You got a name?" he asked. The girl didn't answer. He leaned closer. She whispered, "They call me slave, but I'm not." Ryan stood up, then turned to the alien. "Fine," he said. "Give me her chain codes. The deal is done." The alien clapped his hands. "Excellent, excellent." Ryan tapped his wrist pad. The chain codes transferred. A small tag under the girl's collar blinked green. Ownership transferred. She belonged to him now. Ryan didn't feel proud. He felt dirty. He led her back to the ship in silence. She walked with her head high. Not like someone owned. Like someone waiting for her chance to escape. When they entered the hauler, Ryan finally spoke. "You hungry?" She didn't answer. He threw a ration bar onto the table. "Eat or don't." "I don't care." He walked to the cockpit and sat down. Later that night, he found her sitting in the corner of the ship's cargo hold. Not crying, not sleeping, just staring at the wall. He tossed a blanket to her. "You don't have to sit on the floor," he said. She looked at him, confused. "I thought slaves don't get comfort." "I never asked for a slave," Ryan said. "I asked for payment." She stared. "Then why didn't you leave me behind?" Ryan shrugged. "Because I don't leave people behind, even the angry ones." She was quiet for a moment, then she said, "My name is Asha. I was not born in chains." Ryan nodded. "Okay, Asha. Welcome to the mess." She narrowed her eyes. "I'm not yours." He smirked. "That's fine. I'm not yours either." For the first time, she smiled, just a little. And for the first time in a long while, Ryan Cross didn't feel alone, but he didn't know that this strange deal would change everything. Day 2. Ryan Cross regretted the deal already. Not because the alien girl, Asha, was trouble, but because she wasn't afraid of anything. The morning started with loud banging in the ship's engine room. Ryan jumped out of his bunk and grabbed his sidearm, thinking someone had broken in. But no. There she was, Asha, his payment, kneeling over the fuel stabilizer with a wrench in her hand, covered in grease. The floor panel was open, tools were everywhere, and one of his diagnostic cables was hanging from her mouth like a vine. He stared at her. She didn't stop working. "You know I didn't tell you to touch that," he said. She glanced up. "I know. You could have wrecked the whole system." She wiped her face with her sleeve. I fixed it. Ryan blinked. You're supposed to ask before you... She stood, walking past him like a shadow. I don't ask anymore. Later, he found her in the food bay. She had opened every single ration pack he had, spread them across the table, mixing powders, adding spice, sniffing, tasting, rearranging. You bored or just trying to poison me? He asked. She replied without looking up. I was a ship-class nutrition tech before they sold me. Your food stock was disorganized and wasteful. He folded his arms. It was mine. She turned, dropped a hot flask in his hands. Then you should eat better. She didn't break chains. She broke rules, quietly, intelligently, with reason behind every move. And Ryan, for the first time in years, didn't know how to handle that. That night she sat near the engine again, this time just listening. Ryan joined her, throwing a cloth on the ground between them. He sat. She didn't move away. You don't act like a slave, he said. Aisha didn't respond. He looked at her collar, blinking faintly. I could take that off, he said. She turned to him slowly. Her voice was low. No, not yet. Ryan frowned. You like it? She shook her head. It's not safe to be free in a place that still sees you as owned. He leaned back against the metal wall. You know, you've got attitude. No fear. Strong head. She raised an eyebrow. Is that a compliment? No. It's a warning, he replied. Keep testing me. I might sell you to someone who actually wants a fighter. For a second, her face changed, from calm to cold. She stood up, walked to the cargo hold door, and stopped. Her voice was barely above a whisper. I'd rather you kill me here than send me back out there. And then she left. Ryan sat alone. His hand rested on his weapon, but he didn't move. Something in her voice stayed with him, something real. The next morning, he found her curled up on the storage crates, not chained, not locked in. Yet she hadn't run. He placed a protein bar near her feet. She opened one eye, then said, Still not afraid I'll stab you in your sleep? He shrugged. If you were going to do that, you would have already used my own wrench. She smirked. That was the first time she smiled, genuinely. Later, when she helped him repair the nav screen, she asked, Why did you really take me that day? He didn't answer at first, then said, Because you looked like someone who would never bow, and I was tired of seeing people who only did. Asha looked at him for a long moment, then said, Then stop calling me a slave. Ryan nodded slowly. Deal. But you stopped throwing my tools on the floor. That night they didn't eat alone, they sat at the same table. No chains, no orders, just two people caught in something strange. Not enemies, not yet allies, but no longer strangers. Ryan Cross wasn't a light sleeper, but something woke him. A soft hum, not from the ship's engines. It was coming from below. He grabbed his coat and moved quietly, bare feet stepping over loose floor panels. The sound was rhythmic, like a quiet machine being tuned. The noise came from the maintenance bay, a small space under the cargo hold where he stored parts and broken tech. He didn't remember leaving it unlocked. When he opened the hatch and climbed down the ladder, he stopped cold. Asha was there, but she wasn't stealing. She wasn't running. She was working. The collar around her neck blinked soft blue in the shadows. A small light clamped to her wrist glowed faintly, lighting the mess of tangled wires and broken panels spread out before her. She was sitting cross-legged in front of the main reactor stabilizer, a part of the ship Ryan himself hadn't touched in months. And what shocked him most, she had fixed it. He spoke from the ladder. You're not supposed to know how to do that. She didn't look up. I'm not supposed to know many things. He climbed down slowly. How long have you been sneaking down here? Asha finished tightening a bolt, then stood, wiping her hands. 3 nights. Ryan folded his arms. And, what else did you fix? She looked him in the eye. Life support sensors, backup fuel pipe, cracked plasma lines. Oh. And your cooling coils were about to melt. Ryan stared at her, speechless. These weren't beginner-level repairs. They weren't even basic engineering. They were expert adjustments done by hand, in silence, without any help. You were trained, he said at last. She nodded. Where? Before I was captured. I was part of the Illyrian resistance fleet. I was their youngest systems mechanic. Ryan's heart sank. The Illyrians were wiped, out in the last cycle. Most were sold off, the rest were erased. You were a rebel? I was a student, she said firmly. They made me a rebel when they chained my mind. Ryan sat down across from her, suddenly very tired. So that collar, it's not just for show, is it? No, she said. It records movement, shocks if I act defiant, tracks my location, cuts oxygen if I tamper with it. She tapped it with 2 fingers. But I learned to work around it. Ryan stared at the collar, then at her face. You've had it for how long? 3 years. And no one ever saw me as anything but a tool, she said. You were the first one who didn't ask me to kneel. The silence hung heavy between them. Asha walked past him to a shelf and picked up a small old circuit board. She turned it over in her hand like it was gold. I don't want to be yours. I just don't want to be anyone's. Ryan stood slowly. Then, stop hiding in the dark, Asha blinked. I'm not locking you down anymore, he said. If you want to work, work in the open. If you want to eat beside me. You're not a guest, but you're not a prisoner either. She studied his face carefully. And what if I leave? He nodded. I won't stop you. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. If I leave, you'll lose half your ship in 3 days. He grinned. Then maybe I'll convince you to stay. Later, they sat in the cockpit together. She was quiet, looking at the stars through the wide glass. This ship feels different now, she said softly. Why? He asked. She shrugged. It's the first ship I've worked on where the lights feel warm, and the hands don't hit. Before she went to sleep, Ryan left a small toolkit on the table near her bunk. No lock, no command, just a note. In case you're bored again. She didn't smile, but she didn't throw it away either, and, for the first time, the lights in the ship dimmed gently, no alarms. No fear, just quiet breathing. And the faint sound of chains that no longer felt like a cage, but like something that was about to break. Ryan Cross had seen many kinds of prisoners. Some screamed, some begged, some just stared at the walls. But Asha was none of those. She was a storm that had learned to whisper. He found her on the top deck of the ship sitting beneath the observation dome. Stars floated quietly above her and her silver hair shimmered in the low light. Her collar still blinked. Blue, slow, constant, like a quiet heartbeat that wasn't hers. He walked over and sat across from her. No words, just space. After a long moment, she spoke. They didn't catch me in battle. I was traded. By someone I trusted. Ryan didn't interrupt. Asha kept her eyes on the stars. I had a brother, Kira. He was older, braver. He worked with the outer cell of the Illyrian, resistance. He taught me how to rebuild power grids, hack comm lines, rewire life support. Said one day I'd be the one keeping a fleet alive. But when the resistance started losing, he changed. Her voice dropped. He cut a deal with a cartel. Said he was saving us. He handed over our entire squad, me included. He took the money, walked away. Ryan leaned forward. You saw him do it? Asha nodded. Once. He didn't even say goodbye. She touched the collar gently. They beat me the first week, starved me the second. By the third, I had stopped speaking. When I bit that traitor, the one who gave me to you, he laughed. Said I had fire. That maybe I'd fetch a better price if I didn't break first. She looked at Ryan now, not crying, not shaking, just raw. Then he gave me to you like a spare part. Ryan stared at the collar. The small lights, the dull metal, the quiet click every time she moved. He had ignored it before, but now looked louder than her voice. He stood up, walked to a storage drawer, and came back holding something small. A tool. Silver. Magnetic tip. She frowned. "What's that?" "A key," he said. She froze. "You can't. If it's not done right, it'll trigger the shock failsafe." Ryan crouched beside her. "Then trust me to do it right." She pulled back slightly. "You don't need to do this. I'm useful with it on. Safer." "I don't want you to be useful," he said softly. "I want you to be free." He reached toward her neck slowly. Her hands gripped his wrist, tight, nervous, their eyes locked. Then she nodded, just once. Ryan slipped the tool into the edge of the collar. He felt the magnet connect. Tiny sparks flickered. A beep, then a second one, higher pitched. He twisted. The collar let out a short hiss like air escaping from a prison cell, and then, click, it opened and fell to the floor. Asha gasped. She didn't move, just touched her neck slowly, as if unsure whether it was really gone. "It's off." She whispered it like a curse, like a prayer. "It's really off." Ryan picked up the collar and walked to the dome window. He opened the outer chute. The collar was sucked out, spinning into the void of space like a dead. Star Asha exhaled, hard, then laughed, then cried, but not like someone who was weak, like someone who had been holding her breath for years. Ryan sat beside her again. "You okay?" She wiped her face. "I think so. I forgot what it felt like. To move without asking permission." That night she didn't sleep in the cargo bay. She slept in the room across from Ryan's. Not locked, not chained, just closed. By her hand. The next day the ship felt different. Warmer. Asha worked with no collar, no fear, no silence. She whistled while retuning the nav sensors. She told jokes in the galley. She even helped a lost trader dock using a custom signal loop. Ryan had never seen tech move like that. But Ryan knew freedom wasn't free. And someone, somewhere, was still watching. That collar had a serial tag, a tracker, a signal that someone would one day trace. But for now, he didn't tell her. He let her breathe. That night, as the stars blinked overhead, Asha sat beside him on the bridge. She pointed to a distant red dot in the sky. "That's Arlen's wound. The system where my people lived. It's still there?" She shook her head. "Burned out." Then added, "But I didn't burn with it." Ryan looked at her, bare neck, proud face, steady hands. "No," he said, "you didn't." And under the quiet hum of the stars, something grew between them. Not chains, not deals, just choice. For 2 days, peace lived inside the ship. Asha walked freely now, collarless, confident, sharper than ever. She laughed more, talked more, helped Ryan upgrade systems he never even knew were broken. She adjusted the ship's shields to run smoother, rerouted comms to stay hidden from trade beacons, and for the first time in years, she sang while working, but peace is never silent for long, not on the edge of the black market, not when you're once owned. It started with a signal, faint, hidden inside the ship's system. A ping. Ryan saw it late that night. A red dot blinking. On the nav screen, not moving, not speaking, just watching. He ran a trace. The result hit him hard. Slave retrieval signal activated. It came from her old collar, the one he had thrown into space. Someone had locked onto the tag before it vanished, and now, they were coming. He stormed into the engine bay, where Asha was recalibrating the heat coils. She stood when she saw his face. "What is it?" "You were tagged. Even after I took the collar off, the signal got out." Her eyes narrowed. "How long?" "Could be hours. Maybe less." She nodded. No panic. No questions. Just silence. Then she said, "They always come back." Ryan placed a hand on the edge of the work table. "You can still run. There's a mining port 2 jumps out. I can drop you there. She stepped back. I'm not running. They'll have guns. They'll come in teams. I know. Ryan crossed his arms. Then what do you want to do? Asha looked around the ship. Their ship now. She touched the side wall gently. I want to fight. Later they prepared. No military gear. No high-tech armor. Just scrap parts, old traps, and Asha's brilliance. She rewired the landing bay to release coolant mist when triggered. Ryan loaded his pulse rifle and charged the power cells. They turned the ship into a fortress of tricks. And in the center of it all stood her. Calm. Ready. When the enemy ship arrived, it didn't speak. It just hovered. Big. Ugly. Black steel like rusted knives. Then, 3 shadows dropped from the underside. Bounty hunters. They entered through the lower hatch, walking with long, slow steps. Their armor was patchwork, and their helmets glowed red. The leader scanned the room. Signal is faint, but she's here, one of them growled. Payment says alive, doesn't say unharmed. Then the mist dropped. A thick white fog covered the room, and the trap sprang. A pipe exploded overhead, hot steam hissed. One bounty hunter screamed and fell back, armor sizzling. Asha moved like a shadow, sliding behind cover, pressing a trigger. Bang! A second one tripped an electric snare. Sparks lit up the dark. Ryan fired once. Blast to the leg. Direct hit. Now only one remained. The leader. He raised a small sphere and threw it forward. A flash pulse knocked out lights in the entire lower deck. Silence followed. Then footsteps. The leader moved forward, slow, scanning. Asha stood behind the core generator. He aimed his rifle. You were worth good credits, girl. We can do this the easy way. She stepped out of the shadow, no fear in her voice. I'm not for sale anymore. He fired. She dropped, rolled, slid under the walkway, hit a button on the panel. Clank. The floor opened beneath him. Gravity vent triggered. He fell 6 feet down, straight into a magnetic trap Ryan had installed just in time. The man howled, stuck, his armor magnetized to the hull. Ryan ran in, panting, rifle aimed. You good? He asked. Asha stood up slowly, wiped dust from her cheek. Still standing. He looked around the room. All 3 bounty hunters were down, alive but tied, and she wasn't even breathing hard. Later, as they flew away from the wrecked enemy ship, Ryan sat beside her in the cockpit. You didn't run, he said. No, she replied. Why? She looked out at the stars. Because if I ran again, I'd never stop running. She turned to him. This ship, this crew of 2, this is the first time I ever fought for something that was mine. Ryan smiled. You're not bad at war. She smirked. I told you I bite. They both laughed, and out in the dark, they were no longer afraid. The bounty hunters were gone. The floor was clean, the tools were packed, and the collar was history. But something had changed. Not in the ship. In her, Asha now stood differently, not like someone hiding, like someone who belonged. Ryan noticed it first during repairs. She didn't ask permission anymore, she gave instructions. Check the vent coils, they're overheating. Your left panel's misaligned, I'll fix it. She even told Ryan to take a break, and somehow, he listened. 3 days passed. Then, a signal came through their secure comms, encrypted, hidden under a trading beacon. Ryan opened it cautiously. The message was short. To the ship carrying subject Asha of Illyrian code, we saw what you did, and we are listening. He showed it to her. She read it twice. Her face stayed still, but her hands tightened. They're watching. Ryan frowned. Who are they? She looked up. My people, or what's left of them. That night she couldn't sleep. She walked the hall alone, touching the walls of the ship. Not for comfort, for memory. This ship had become something rare. Safe. silent. Hers. She sat at the engine core and whispered to herself, I am not theirs. I was never theirs. The next morning, a small shuttle landed at a supply station they were passing. A man entered with trade goods. But the moment he saw Asha in the background, he froze, then bowed slightly. I thought you were a myth. Ryan stepped forward. Who are you? I was born on the last Illyrian freighter, he said. We heard stories about a silver-haired tech girl who never broke, who bit her captors and fixed broken ships at night. He looked at Asha. They called her the ghost of the chains. Asha said nothing, just stared. Ryan turned to her. You never told me that. I didn't know anyone was listening, she said. The trader handed her a chip. This is for you, not him. A gift. A coat of thanks. She took it silently. He nodded once, then left. Back on the ship, Ryan watched her hold the chip. You okay? I'm not a myth, she said softly. No, Ryan agreed. You're more. You're real. She plugged the chip into the main console. A small symbol appeared on the screen. An old Illyrian sigil, a broken chain, wrapped in flame. She stared at it for a long time, then pressed a button. The symbol copied into the ship's ID tag. Ryan raised an eyebrow. You changed our call sign? No, she said. I named us. That evening, she stood at the front of the bridge facing the stars. Ryan stood beside her. What now? She smiled. We fly where we want, fix what we want, and if anyone asks, we are ourselves. He chuckled. That's not much of a battle plan. She looked at him, eyes clear, jaw firm. I don't need a plan. I just need the sky, and someone who doesn't chain me. He turned away slightly, pretending to check the console. Then you're in the right ship. Later, a trader pinged them from a nearby moon. Wanted a job done, cargo moved, engine repaired. They asked for the ghost tech. They meant her. She didn't correct them, just replied, We'll come. But this time, I'm not hiding my name. In that moment, Ryan realized something. They didn't save her. She saved herself. He had just given her the space to remember how. And now, across space stations and outlaw channels, a name began to spread. Asha. No longer a prisoner. No longer a rumor. But a rising signal, a story, a warning. The message came while they were parked above a dead planet. No storms. No life. Just silence below. And tension inside. Ryan Cross sat in the cockpit, staring at the blinking icon on his console. It was a private channel. Encrypted. Military grade. Not local. Galactic Registry Authority. He opened it. A cold voice filled the room. Your ship is carrying escaped property. Identification. Asha of Illyrian bloodline. Resistance linked. Illegal transfer. Reward for her return, 100,000 credits. No questions asked. He didn't respond. Didn't move. He just stared at the line of text below. Reply yes to accept. Asha walked in seconds later, holding a diagnostic tool. I upgraded the fuel regulator. She stopped. Saw the screen. Her face froze. Ryan didn't hide it. He let her read it. He let her know. She stood there quiet. I guess the bounty finally reached the center. Ryan looked up. 100,000 is a lot. She nodded. More than I'm worth. No, he said. Not enough. Silence. Then she asked the question. What are you going to do? Ryan stood, walked past her. He tapped the console once. The message vanished. Gone. His voice was steady. I don't sell my crew. Asha didn't cry. Didn't speak. She just turned her head and for the first time touched his arm gently. Thank you. Later that night, she stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars. She whispered something under her breath. Ryan walked in behind her. Didn't catch that, he said. She didn't turn. I was saying goodbye to the version of me they wanted. The next day, a large station hailed them. A job. High risk, high pay. But this time they weren't asking for the ghost tech. They asked for Captain Cross and co-pilot Asha. Official request, registered crew, not slave, not fugitive, not property partner. Before docking, Ryan handed her a tablet. "Fill out your part," he said. Asha looked down. It was a crew registry form. Digital, real, permanent. At the top, title, co-pilot, engineer. She hesitated, then typed in her full, HFY Talon. She paused, then added one more line. Status, free. The station was busy. They landed without trouble. No guards, no bounty hunters, just curious faces. And one familiar one, a woman in a dark jacket leaning against a metal post. When she saw Asha, her eyes widened, then she smiled. Well, well. The ghost walks in the daylight now. They sat together over hot drinks. The woman's name was Kira, same as Asha's brother. But no relation. She was part of a new cell. Small. Quiet. Not war-ready, but watching. Waiting. Your name is lighting up comm boards, Kira said. People thought you vanished. Or died. Asha shook her head. I just stopped being someone. Worth finding, Ryan looked at her. That's not true, Asha smiled. No, not anymore. The job was simple. Fix a failing comm relay on a small moon base. It should have taken a team a week. Asha did it in 5 hours. The station leader handed her a toolkit and a bag of credits. You work like you've got something to prove, he joked. She replied, I don't. Not anymore. Back on the ship, Ryan watched her file reports into the system. Organize parts. Hum softly. He leaned against the door. You know, I never told you this ship had a name. She looked up. It does? Did. Long ago, before I burned the registry. What was it? Ryan shrugged. Didn't matter. Back then I flew alone. Asha tapped the console. Then let's rename it. They sat side by side. Thought for a while. Finally, she said, Call it Ashlight. He blinked. Why that? She smiled. Because ash is what's left after the fire, and light is what comes next. He laughed. I like it. He hit save. Ship ID, Ashlight. Captain, Ryan Cross. Co-pilot, HFY Talon. And in the black beyond the stars, a new light quietly woke. A few weeks later, while drifting past a gas giant, they picked up a strange signal. Encrypted, ancient, barely readable. Asha listened. She closed her eyes. It's from an old resistance pod. Still alive? Barely. Ryan stood. We going? Asha nodded. We don't run from ghosts anymore. As the ship turned, she took her seat beside him. Same controls, same stars. New journey, new name, new purpose. He looked at her one last time before the jump. You were supposed to be payment. She grinned. And you were supposed to be quiet. He chuckled. Look at us now. I see 2 free souls, she said. And 1 beautiful ship. And with a final spark, the Ashlight jumped into the unknown. Not fleeing, not chasing, just flying, together.